I woke up one morning and realized I had nothing left. No husband, no daughter, no family. Just the echo of betrayal in an empty house that used to hold laughter. My beautiful adopted daughter, the girl I raised, loved, protected, had stolen my husband. Not in some sudden, reckless moment, but slowly, deliberately, in the shadows of our own home, while I made dinner downstairs and hummed songs I thought we'd all grow old to. How does a mother survive that? How does anyone? The worst part wasn't the betrayal itself. It was realizing I'd been blind to it for so long, living in a house where the walls held secrets I couldn't see. If you're new here, welcome to Every Smile Hides a Story. This channel is just getting started, and every day will bring you real stories about hidden kindness, second chances, and the truth behind people's smiles. Please subscribe. Your support means everything as we grow this community together. My name is Elena, and for years, I thought I had built the perfect life. Marco and I married young, full of dreams about a house with children running through the hallways, voices calling Mom and Dad from every room. But life had other plans. We tried for years to have a baby. Doctors, treatments, hope followed by heartbreak, month after month. The weight of it pressed on us both, but we held on. We held each other. I remember sitting in the clinic waiting room one afternoon, the fluorescent lights humming overhead, Marco's hand tight around mine. "We'll find another way," he whispered, and I believed him. I believed in us. Then one autumn afternoon, my colleague Maria told me about a girl, Valyria, 12 years old, just lost her father in a construction accident. No other family. Afraid. Alone. Maria worked with social services and knew we'd been thinking about adoption. "She needs someone," Maria said softly, her hand on mine across the cafe table. The late afternoon sun cut through the window, warm on my skin. "And maybe you need her too." I remember the first time I saw Valyria, small for her age, dark eyes that looked everywhere and nowhere, hands twisted in her lap like she was trying to hold herself together. She didn't speak much that day. Marco and I sat across from her in the foster coordinator's office, and I could feel the fear radiating off her like heat. The room smelled like old coffee and paper, institutional and cold. I reached out slowly, let my hand rest near hers on the table. I didn't grab, I didn't force. I just waited. After a long moment, her pinky finger touched mine, the smallest bridge between two strangers. "You're safe now," I whispered. She looked up at me, and I saw something crack open in those eyes. Something that looked like hope. Something fragile and precious that I promised myself I would protect forever. That promise felt like the most important thing I'd ever made. The first year was hard. Valyria had nightmares. She'd wake up screaming for her father, and I'd rush to her room, hold her until the shaking stopped. Sometimes we'd sit there until dawn, her head on my shoulder, both of us exhausted but together. Marco was patient too, in his way. He'd make her favorite breakfast, pancakes with too much syrup, and tell bad jokes until she smiled. Slowly, she settled in. She started calling me Mama Elena. The first time she said it, my heart nearly burst. She joined the school choir. She laughed at dinner. We became a family. But there were moments, looking back now, when I should have seen something. The way Valyria watched Marco when she thought no one was looking. How she'd find excuses to be near him. Asking for help with homework she could easily do herself. Lingering in the living room when he watched TV. Offering to help him in the garage. I told myself it was normal. She was searching for a father figure. She'd lost hers so young. Of course she'd cling to Marco. Of course she'd want his approval, his attention. I convinced myself it was healthy, that it meant she felt safe with us. I was so stupid, so willfully blind. Marco started working late. "Big project," he'd say, kissing my forehead as he grabbed his keys. "Don't wait up." The smell of his cologne lingered in the doorway after he left, sharp and familiar. Valyria would disappear to her room early those nights, door closed, music playing softly. I'd stand in the kitchen alone, washing dishes, the water too hot on my hands, wondering why the house felt so hollow, even though everyone was home. I'd tell myself I was being paranoid, that I was imagining problems where none existed, that my marriage was fine, my family was fine, everything was fine. One evening, I came back early from my sister's house. I'd forgotten my phone. The living room was dark, except for the TV's blue glow flickering across the walls like something alive. I walked quietly, not wanting to disturb anyone, and that's when I heard it. Whispers, coming from the hallway near Valyria's room. I froze, my keys still in my hand. "You can't keep doing this." Valyria's voice tight with fear. Young, desperate. "You think you can just stop?" Marco, his voice low, threatening in a way I'd never heard before. Cold, controlled. After everything, my heart stopped. I couldn't breathe. The air in the house felt thick, suffocating. I stood there in the darkness, invisible, as my world quietly shattered. I didn't confront them. I should have. Instead, I went back outside, sat in my car, and cried until my throat was raw and my chest ached. The streetlights hummed overhead, insects circling in their yellow glow. I told myself I'd misheard, that there was some innocent explanation, but the truth was already crawling under my skin like poison, spreading through my veins, infecting everything. The signs multiplied after that. Marco's phone faced down constantly. He changed his passcode. He'd shower as soon as he got home, even on days when he claimed he'd been at the office all day. Valyria grew distant, anxious, stopped eating properly. Her eyes had dark circles. She was 17 now, almost 18, and something in her had changed. Something frightened and desperate and trapped. I asked her if everything was okay. She just nodded, looked away, whispered, "I'm fine, Mama." That word, Mama, felt like a knife twisting in my chest. I started paying closer attention, the way Marco would brush past Valyria in the hallway, his hand lingering on her shoulder just a second too long, the way she'd flinch slightly, then force a smile, the way he'd offer to drive her places when I was busy, and she'd make excuses not to go. The tension in the house grew so thick I could barely breathe through it, but neither of them acknowledged it. They moved around each other like dancers who'd memorized a choreography of secrets. Then one morning, Valyria didn't come down for breakfast. The coffee maker gurgled in the quiet kitchen, the only sound in the house. I went to her room, knocked softly. "Valyria, you'll be late for school." No answer. I opened the door. She was sitting on her bed, face pale as paper, hands shaking. On the floor beside her, a pregnancy test. Positive. The world tilted. The morning light through her window seemed too bright, harsh, accusing. "Valyria?" She looked up at me, and in her eyes I saw everything. Terror, guilt, shame, and something else. A plea for help she couldn't voice. A desperate, silent scream that had been building inside her for months, maybe years. "Who?" I managed to whisper, though I already knew. God help me, I already knew. My hands were trembling, cold despite the warmth of the house. Her silence was the confession. She opened her mouth, closed it, shook her head. Tears streamed down her face. "I'm sorry," she choked out. "Mama, I'm so sorry." But she didn't say his name. She didn't have to. The confrontation came that night. I waited until Valyria was in her room, door closed. Then I turned to Marco, who was sitting on the couch scrolling through his phone like nothing in the world had changed. "We need to talk," I said. My voice sounded strange to my own ears. Hollow. Dead. He looked up, and I saw it immediately. The flash of fear in his eyes before he smoothed his expression into neutrality. "About what?" "About Valyria. About the baby. About what you've been doing to her." For a second, just a second, I thought he might deny it. Might laugh, might call me crazy, might gaslight me the way I'd heard other women describe. But he didn't. He just set his phone down, leaned back, and sighed like I'd asked him to take out the trash. "How long have you known?" he asked. The casualness of the question staggered me, like we were discussing the weather, like he hadn't destroyed everything we'd built. "Does it matter?" My voice cracked. "How could you? She's a child. She's our daughter." "She's not a child anymore," he said flatly. "And she's not our daughter. She's adopted. It's not the same." I felt something inside me break. Not crack, not fracture. Break completely, irreparably. "Get out," I whispered. "Elena, get out of my house, now, before I call the police." He stood slowly, studying my face like he was trying to calculate whether I meant it. Then he shrugged. Actually shrugged. Fine. This was getting complicated anyway. That's when I knew I'd never really known him at all. The man I'd married, the man I'd built a life with, didn't exist. Maybe he never had. He left that night, packed a bag, walked out without looking back. I stood in the doorway and watched his taillights disappear down the street, red eyes fading into darkness. Then I turned and saw Valyria standing at the top of the stairs, her small silhouette backlit by the hallway light. She tried to approach me, tried to explain, but I couldn't look at her. The girl I'd raised, the daughter I'd loved. She wasn't who I thought she was. Or maybe I was the fool for thinking love could protect us from ourselves. From the monsters we invite into our homes and call family. Get out, I told her. My voice was cold, dead. I barely recognized it as my own. Mama, please. She was crying, reaching for me. Don't call me that. You don't get to call me that anymore. He told me you'd stop loving me if you knew. He said you'd send me away. I was so scared, Mama. I didn't know what to do. I tried to stop it. I don't want to hear it. Just go. She left. I watched from the window as she walked down the street, one small bag over her shoulder, disappearing into the dusk. The streetlights flickered on one by one, and with each light, she got smaller, farther away, until she was gone. I told myself I felt nothing. I told myself she deserved it. I told myself a lot of lies that night. The weeks that followed were a blur. Divorce papers, lawyers, mechanical conversations in sterile offices. Marco had moved in with some woman from his work. Someone younger. Someone who didn't know what he was capable of. Someone who probably thought she was special, different. The one who could change him. I wanted to warn her. I never did. I heard through mutual friends that Valyria was living on the streets, pregnant, alone. Part of me felt vindicated. She'd made her choice. She'd betrayed me. Let her live with the consequences. But most of me felt sick. I'd lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, imagining her cold, hungry, scared, carrying a baby she didn't ask for, abandoned by everyone she'd ever trusted, including me. One afternoon, my sister Carmen came over. She didn't call first, just showed up with groceries and determination. She made tea, sat me down at the kitchen table, held my hands. The steam from the cups rose between us, warm and fragrant. Elena, she said gently, I know you're hurt, but that girl, she was a child when it started, wasn't she? I pulled my hands away. She was 17, when you found out. But when did it really start? Think about it. Think about the timing, the change in her. When did you first notice Marco pulling away? When did Valyria start acting different? I didn't want to think about it. But Carmen's words burrowed deep, relentless. I started counting back. The late nights, the closed doors, Valyria's growing anxiety, the way she'd started wearing baggy clothes, hiding her body, the way she'd stopped inviting friends over. She'd been 15, maybe younger, maybe even... The realization hit me like a physical blow. I'd thrown out a victim. I'd blamed the child and let the predator walk away clean. I'd done exactly what Marco had told her I would do. I'd proven him right. Oh God, I whispered. Carmen, what have I done? She squeezed my hands tighter. You can still fix it. It's not too late. But was it? How do you come back from that kind of betrayal? Not Marco's betrayal, mine. The mother who was supposed to protect her, who'd instead thrown her out into the cold. I spent 3 days trying to find her. I called shelters, asked around the downtown area where homeless people gathered, drove through neighborhoods I'd never been to before. Dark streets, boarded-up buildings, people huddled in doorways. Nothing. Valyria had vanished. Each night I came home empty-handed, the house echoing with silence and regret. Then, on the 4th day, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. A man's voice. Young. Cautious. Mrs. Reyes, this is Diego. I'm a friend of Valyria's. From school. She's here with me. She's safe. Diego. I remembered him vaguely. A quiet boy who'd been kind to Valyria when she first started at their high school. Shy, respectful, the kind of kid who held doors for people and said please and thank you. I'd met him once or twice at school events. He gave me an address across town. The apartment was small, clean, modest. Diego answered the door, and behind him I saw Valyria sitting on a worn couch, a tiny baby in her arms. She looked up when I entered, and her face crumpled. She'd lost weight. Her eyes were hollow, but she was alive. Mama. Her voice broke. I crossed the room. I didn't think. I just moved. I knelt in front of her, looked at the baby, a little girl, tiny and perfect, with Valyria's dark eyes, and then at Valyria. Really looked at her. Saw the exhaustion. The fear, the shame. Saw the child I'd failed to protect. Saw my daughter. I'm sorry. she whispered. I'm so sorry. I know you hate me. I know I ruined everything, but I had nowhere else to go. And Diego said, no. My own voice cracked. I'm sorry. I should have seen it. I should have protected you. I was your mother, and I failed you. She shook her head violently, tears streaming. You didn't fail me. I let it happen. I didn't fight hard enough. I didn't tell you. You were a child. You were scared, and he was an adult who manipulated you. None of this was your fault. I thought if I told you, you'd send me away. I thought I'd lose you. And then it happened, and I didn't know how to stop it. And he kept saying it was special, that it was love, that you wouldn't understand. And I was so confused. Shh. I pulled her into my arms, careful of the baby between us. It's not your fault. None of this was your fault. We sat there on Diego's couch and cried together. Not the pretty, cathartic crying from movies. Messy, ugly, human crying. The kind that empties you out and leaves space for something new. The kind that hurts but heals at the same time. The baby stirred against us, making soft noises, and somehow that made us cry harder. Diego stood in the kitchen doorway, quiet, respectful. He'd made coffee. The smell filled the small apartment, normal and comforting. When we finally pulled apart, I looked at him. Thank you, I said, for taking care of them. He shrugged, a small smile touching his lips. She's family. That's what you do. Family. The word felt different now. Not blood. Not paperwork. Something chosen. Something built. Something that could break and be put back together. Stronger in the broken places. Rebuilding took time. It wasn't a quick fix. Wasn't a tearful reunion and everything's fine. It was slow, painful, necessary work. Valyria and the baby, Sophia, she'd named her, moved back home after a few weeks. Not immediately. There were conversations first. Long, hard conversations where we both said things we needed to say, where she told me everything, and I listened without judgment, though every word cut deep, where I apologized for failing her, and she apologized for not trusting me enough to ask for help sooner, where we both acknowledged that Marco had done this to us, had driven a wedge between mother and daughter with lies and manipulation and abuse. We started therapy, together and separate. It helped. It gave us language for what had happened, frameworks for understanding. The therapist explained grooming, power dynamics, trauma bonding, explained how predators target vulnerable children, isolate them, make them complicit in their own abuse. Valyria learned it wasn't her fault. I learned how to support her without enabling the shame that still clung to her like a second skin. Marco had started grooming her at 14. Small compliments, special attention, making her feel seen in ways that confused her. You're so mature for your age. You understand me better than your mother does. This is our secret. By 15, he'd convinced her it was love. By 16, she was trapped, terrified, convinced that telling the truth would destroy the only family she had left. I wanted to tell you, she said one afternoon as we folded laundry together, Sophia sleeping nearby in her bassinet. The spring sunlight poured through the windows, warm and forgiving. Every day I wanted to tell you, but I was terrified. He said you'd hate me, that you'd send me back to foster care, that no one would believe me, and I couldn't. I couldn't lose you again. Losing my dad almost killed me. I couldn't survive losing another parent. I set down the shirt I was folding, my hands trembling. Valyria, listen to me. You are my daughter. You always have been. Not because of papers or biology, but because I chose you and you chose me. And nothing Marco did can change that. Do you understand? She nodded, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. I don't know if I can forgive myself. Then we'll work on that together, for as long as it takes. Diego became part of our lives too. He'd visit on weekends, bring groceries, play with Sophia. He had a gentleness with her that made my heart ache. The way he'd talk to her in a soft voice, make her laugh with silly faces, hold her like she was made of glass. He and Valyria started dating eventually. Slowly, carefully, with respect and patience and clear boundaries. He was everything Marco wasn't. Kind, honest, safe. He never pushed, never demanded. He just showed up, consistently, and proved through action that not all men were predators. One evening, as I watched Diego make Valyria laugh while he pretended to be a dinosaur for Sophia's entertainment, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. Not happiness. Not yet. But peace. The quiet knowledge that we would be okay, that this strange, broken, rebuilt family was real and good and worth fighting for. Marco tried to reach out once. A text message that popped up on my phone. "Can we talk? I miss you." I stared at it for a long moment, feeling nothing. Then I blocked his number. He'd made his choices. We were making ours. He didn't deserve another second of my time, another ounce of my energy. He'd had his chance to be a good man, a good father. He'd chosen to be a monster instead. I heard later, through the grapevine, that his new relationship had ended, that he'd moved to another city, that he was alone. I felt no satisfaction in it, no vindication, just a vague sense of waste. All that potential, all those years, thrown away because he couldn't control himself, because he chose to hurt the vulnerable instead of protecting them. 2 years have passed now. Sofia is learning to talk, calling me abuela in a voice that melts my heart every time. She's bright, curious, fearless in the way only toddlers can be. Valyria finished her GED and started community college. She wants to be a social worker, to help kids like she was, to spot the signs she wishes someone had spotted in her, to be the advocate she never had. "I want to make something good out of what happened," she told me one night, both of us tired from a long day, but sitting together anyway, cups of tea cooling on the coffee table between us. "I want it to mean something. It already means something," I said. "You survived. You're building a life. You're an amazing mother. That means everything." Diego proposed last month. Small ceremony planned. Just family and close friends. He asked me first. Showed up at the house one evening nervous and earnest. "Mrs. Reyes, I love your daughter. I want to spend my life with her and Sofia. I want to be the father Sofia deserves. I hope that's okay with you." I hugged him. This good man who'd appeared when we needed him most. More than okay. Welcome to the family, officially. Sometimes I look at my life and marvel at how different it is from what I imagined. I'm not the mother of biological children. I'm not married to my first love. My family tree has breaks and grafts and scars visible to anyone who looks closely. But I'm a grandmother. I'm a mother to a daughter who survived hell and chose to keep growing. I'm part of a family we built from broken pieces. And somehow those pieces fit together in a way that makes sense, that feels right, that feels like home. The scars are still there. Valyria has nightmares sometimes. She'll wake up gasping, and Diego will hold her until the fear passes. I have moments when the betrayal resurfaces and steals my breath, when I remember how blind I was and feel the shame of it all over again. But we talk about it. We sit together in the morning light, coffee warming our hands, and we talk. That's the difference. We don't hide anymore. We don't pretend. We face the pain and walk through it together. I've learned that family isn't about perfection. It's not about getting everything right the first time. It's about showing up, even when it's hard. It's about choosing love over pride. It's about seeing people, really seeing them, not as we wish they were, but as they actually are, flawed, frightened, trying, and loving them anyway. And maybe that's the most important thing I can say. The people we love will hurt us. They'll make mistakes, sometimes terrible ones. But real love, the kind that lasts, isn't about never falling. It's about reaching out your hand when someone falls and helping them stand back up, even when you're angry, even when you're hurt, especially then. Because that's when it matters most. That's when love stops being a feeling and becomes a choice. If this story touched something in you, I hope you'll share it. Not because it's easy to hear, but because it's real. Because someone out there might be trapped like Valyria was, or heartbroken like I was, or trying to figure out what family really means. And they need to know, it's never too late to choose differently. It's never too late to see the truth and act on it. It's never too late to rebuild what was broken and make it stronger than before. Subscribe to Every Smile Hides a Story if you haven't already. We're building something here. A space for real stories, hard truths, and the kind of hope that doesn't ignore pain but walks straight through it. Every day, we'll share stories that remind us why empathy matters, why second chances exist, and why love, real love, is always stronger than our worst moments. We need your voice in this community. We need your stories. We need your courage to believe that people can change, can heal, can become better versions of themselves even after the worst betrayals. Some stories don't end the way we expect. Sometimes the betrayal cuts deeper than we thought possible. Sometimes the people we trust most are the ones who wound us. Sometimes we become the villains in our own stories, making choices we swore we'd never make, hurting people we swore we'd always protect. But sometimes, if we're brave enough, if we're honest enough, if we're willing to do the hard work, we find our way back to each other. Not because the past doesn't matter, but because the future matters more. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for believing that broken things can be mended, that lost people can be found, that families can be rebuilt on foundations of forgiveness and truth. And remember, behind every smile, there's a story. Some are beautiful, some are broken. All of them are worth hearing. All of them matter, including yours. Tentar novamente. Claude pode cometer erros. Confira sempre as respostas.